Conventional wisdom is no unasked for advice. Indeed, a client today said that she gets annoyed with unasked for advice. She said, this is kind of what she said. She says, I'm quiet, and some people give me unsolicited advice. It's annoying because it's wasted time for me. I particularly hate this particular woman who does it in a tone that says, I'm smarter than you. I've been running this group forever. And in a meeting, no less, she made suggestion after suggestion. Totally embarrassing. I responded by making a little joke, but inside, I'd blow her off. Well, here is the essence of our exchange after that. I said something like, let's start here. Imagine you were walking, starting to cross the street while looking at your phone. Unbeknownst to you, a car is racing down the street about to run you over, and an onlooker screams, "Get back!" Even if the person's tone was excessive, wouldn't you be grateful? Well, she agreed, after which I said, if that's true, in even an unimportant context, shouldn't you at least consider unwanted or unasked for advice? And she responded, yeah, but it's hard not to get angry. Well, that's true. Your first response is visceral, no more controllable than the reflex when a doctor taps your knee and it jerks forward. But after that, if you take a breath, you may be able to control your response. You don't want to reject a good idea just because you didn't ask for it. She then says, but should I reward her for being a know-it-all? I then said, is she in fact a know-a-lot whose ideas are worth considering? She goes, yeah. Then should you work on separating the message from the messenger? She said, it's hard. And I say, yeah, it is, but is it a habit worth trying to acquire? You say you want to move up from middle manager into an executive role. Well, the higher up you go, the more you'll need good advice, asked for or not. That's why leaders giving a talk often say things like, I couldn't have done it without my team, and that's usually true. After all, you have continued to be my client for years now, and I give a fair amount of unwanted advice, or at least unasked for advice. And she says, but what if a person's advice is usually bad? Well, you'll want to minimize the time with that person, but even then, if you can, try not to be demeaning in your words or even in your body language. You don't want to be like the person you just described. Try to listen dispassionately. If necessary, say thank you, and then don't take the bad advice. If you regularly need better advice and are in a power to do so, replace the person. But what about if when you're tempted to give unasked for advice? Well, what I just mentioned illustrates a price you can pay for giving unasked for advice, so it's important to weigh the risk-reward in that situation. How likely is the person to welcome or even just accept your advice? How much antipathy would it likely cause? How much does that matter? The challenge, but an important one, is to be able to restrain yourself for a moment to consider all that. And I have to admit to often being unable to do that, and I just blurt it out sometimes. If you do decide to offer the advice, if you can muster the restraint, try to offer it in a face-saving way. That is, tentatively and as a question. So rather than, this is a better idea, say something like, I'm wondering if this, and you would insert your idea, might work. What do you think? Well, I previously talked with you about rules that should be considered to be no more than rules of thumb. I think if you Google rules that can be broken and the word Nemco, you'll find it. And that those rules of thumb can be broken as the situation dictates. That rule, no unwanted advice, probably should be added to the list. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemco. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemco.